It may be impossible to learn who's telling the truth, but this hearing is an initial step in trying to answer why the top leadership of the CDC was fired or resigned before they could be fired. Turmoil at the top of the nation's top public health agency is not good for the health of the American people. Ever communicate he's going to change the childhood vaccination schedule?
Not until that very day. In that morning meeting, he said that the childhood vaccine schedule would be changing starting in September, and I needed to be on board with it. I could have stayed silent, agreed to the demands, and no one would have known. What the public would have seen were scientists dismissed without cause and vaccine protections quietly eroded, all under the authority of a Senate-confirmed director with unimpeachable credentials. I could have kept the office, the title, but I would have lost the one thing that cannot be replaced, my integrity.
Okay. Joining me now, Senator from Wisconsin, and a good one, Senator Ron Johnson. Senator, can you help me understand why government employees getting fired or resigned is always described as turmoil in the end of the world, where normal people get laid off, fired, move jobs all the time, but when a government employee leaves, it's the end of the world and the sky is falling?
Well, it's only turmoil when it's a Republican president, particularly President Donald Trump. Then it's turmoil, then it's the end of the world. Then it's, Senate hearings found out exactly what happened, when in fact, employment is at will of the President of the United States. And, it seems to make sense to me that the people that he does nominate and get confirmed are on board with what he wants to accomplish and what his department secretaries want to accomplish. It does not sound like Susan Menares was on board.
Senator, something that struck me is that joke of a hearing today was not put on by Cory Booker. It was put on by Republican Bill Cassidy. Can you help me understand that?
Well, as I've been trying to point out in my hearings, which is, the goal of my hearing is just to ask people to open up their minds, open up their eyes, ask the question, what is causing this explosion in chronic illness? What's causing this explosion in autism? Could it possibly be related to vaccines and the massive numbers that were administered to children? But on the other side of that, and the vast majority on the other side of that, they're very pro-vax. It's a religious-like zeal. You can't ask questions. In the tail end of my hearing, the Democrat witness, Dr. Jake Scott, I just asked him a very simple question. I mean, what do you say to a parent who had a perfectly normal developing child, takes the child in for a vaccine, comes home, runs a fever, starts having seizures, never talks again, never speaks again? What do you say to a parent? Well, got a lot of sympathy for people like that. Well, good. I'm glad you have sympathy. How about we get to the bottom of what's causing that kind of reaction? And why don't we honestly listen to those parents? Because they're parents. They saw a perfectly normal child, got a vaccine, no longer have a perfectly normal child. You cannot ignore that. But that is, people like, I won't name a particular senator, but most of the senators on that panel, those CDC fired director, they will not listen to that other viewpoint. They will not listen to it. They just dismiss it. They ignore the vaccine injured, the COVID injection injured. That's why all those individuals feel so abandoned.
Why won't they listen, though? I don't understand. Is it arrogance? Is it honestly, does it come down to basic political bribery with campaign donations? The ones who refuse to listen. I don't know the answers to these questions, but I'm curious. I would like to know, why don't they listen?
Well, first of all, the appeal of a shot being able to prevent death and disease is strong. I mean, I understand the appeal.
Yeah.
And it goes back to really the smallpox vaccine. And so we've just developed this religious type of faith that vaccines, we keep hearing, they are safe and effective. They're safe and effective. I mean, the 1986 Childhood Vaccination Compensation Act acknowledges that vaccines are unavoidably unsafe, which is why we set up a compensation fund. But they're so profitable now. We went from a few vaccines to, in some states, over 80 on the schedule. And there have not been studies. I mean, our hearing last week with Dr. Jake Scott, he comes in, he's crowdsourced, 1,700 studies. Aaron Siri completely picked that apart. He had 661 studies verifying that the childhood vaccine schedule was safe and effective. The vast majority of those studies didn't even pertain to vaccines on the childhood schedule. And then he just kept whittling it down. And basically there are no studies that claim, double controlled, placebo blind, whatever the razzmatazz is they give you for this incredible, robust research. We don't have robust research. We simply don't. That is a lie. But when somebody calls it a lie, when RFK Jr. calls him out, he just gets vilified. They don't have the proof. And quite honestly, Dr. Jake Scott, I think, proved himself to be very unknowledgeable. I'll be kind, very unknowledgeable when it came to the COVID injection.
All right, can you explain, changing the subject a little bit, why Republican senators are getting ready to extend Obamacare? Do I have that right?
They're afraid of the political repercussions. They're afraid of the lies. They're obviously not honoring their promise to repeal and replace Obamacare, rip it out by the root and branch. I mean, the basic numbers should convince them. Prior to that extension, because of COVID in 2021, there were about 9 million people subsidized on the exchange, about 9 million. That went from starting about 5 since inception of Obamacare to about 9, pretty well stable for the last number of those years. Then we basically took away any kind of participation. They're $0 plans now. So people are just getting healthcare for free. Exploded to about 20 million people on the exchanges. And the fact is, a lot of those people on the exchanges that the taxpayer paying premiums to insurance companies for don't even know they're signed up. You have unscrupulous agents and brokers who all they need to know is the person's name and their birth date. They can sign anybody up for healthcare, collect the commission, dollars flow directly into the insurance company. So we have literally about 12 million people on those exchanges that never used healthcare. Now, that's, it's normally does occur, 10 to 15% of people have insurance policy, never use it because they're healthy, but this is more than 50%. And their estimates about 6 million people don't even know they have the coverage. So we're literally pouring tens of billions of dollars into insurance companies, no claims made because the people don't even know they're signed up because some unscrupulous broker or agent signed them up to get the commission. And that right now, I don't know. Again, I just came from a luncheon briefing. Senator Rick Scott is bringing in experts, trying to school Republican senators in terms of what the reality. There's a lot of resistance to reality, just like there's a lot of resistance to the reality that vaccine injuries are real. They exist. We ought to do something about it. Again, too many Republican senators go, but premiums are going to go up, and if they go up, they're going to go up, by the way, because of Obamacare. Obamacare has dramatically increased the cost of insurance policies on the individual market. That's the cost of Obamacare, the very, very, horribly designed program. And so now Republicans are going to throw more money at it. We're going to keep, we're going to extend temporary COVID relief subsidies. Again, it's sad. You can see my passion here. It drives me nuts.
Me too. Senator, what'd you have for lunch? Was it something yummy or gross? I could see a Senate lunch being gross.
No, they feed us pretty well here. So I had some nice chicken, vegetables, fruit, little cake.
A little cake. Nothing wrong with a little cake. Senator, as always, I appreciate you, sir. Come back soon. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.